All right, so we are back again, and today we have the pleasure of having a solid woman, a fiery string of testimonies from an awesome woman. She's sharp as a tack, Miss Carol Ann Tucker. Now, Carol Ann, she's from Alabama. She currently lives in Alabama. She's been all over the U.S. She's been a long-haul trucker as well. Very independent, tough woman. She's very sharp, very smart individual. A little fiery with her accounts, as you can't blame her for a second. As she said, she finally sat down with somebody who'll talk and listen. And she also grew up an army brat. Her dad was in the forces. They moved around a lot, and she was also in the Air Force. She's seen a lot of things, but but as well, you would not believe what she has been witnessing all of her life. This is freaking amazing, with photographs to boot. She's also got videos. She got it all. She's seen it all. She's seen some terrifying things, some things not so terrifying, and some other of these forest people have actually helped her. She's had a prank pulled on her, blatant prank from a young one, and seen it. You wouldn't believe all the things that has happened to this lady, and I absolutely believe her. So, have a listen. You decide for yourself. Enjoy.
Calling down my name. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Shining just like sin. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Tell me, river, where your current flows. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Oh, stop your freight train. Let a lost man ride. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Fare you well, darling, ain't coming back no more. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Who been whispering since I've been gone so long? Freedom calling.
So, Miss Carol Ann, do you have a last name, or are you going to keep it hidden?
Tucker.
Tucker. Where
I'm
are you?
Tucker Trucker Patriot.
All right. Where are you?
I'm in Grand Bay, Alabama.
Grand Bay, Alabama.
Yeah.
Whereabouts is that from? I don't know. Where's that from Tuscaloosa?
Okay, we're south of Tuscaloosa, just off the Gulf Coast. I'm actually between Mobile, Alabama, and Pascagoula, Mississippi,
Okay.
near
Can
the
you see the
Mississippi
ocean?
line.
Can you see the ocean?
No, it's about 8 miles as the crow flies from here.
All right. I just had a couple friends from Mobile up here for a handful of days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, their first time being on Vancouver Island freaked them right out.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. I've done a lot of trucking, I'm a retired truck driver, 42 years of driving a truck off and on.
Oh, wow, you've seen some things.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So
Cool. All right. Well, fill me in. What do you got?
I got some hunting property just south of Tuscaloosa there in Shelby County.
Oh, no kidding.
And I bought that property God put it on my heart to buy high ground,
Oh, yeah.
you know. And so I started looking and I found this two-acre lots together out in the woods. And so I started looking at it and I almost didn't buy it. And man, the day that we were supposed to close, to come down to it, and I called the girl and I said, I don't think I want to buy this, and she, they had all the paperwork and everything. Well, anyway, I went ahead and bought it. And that was into December, getting towards the end of December. Well, January, because I was still trucking then. And so when I had my home time, January 2018, I planned a trip and I went up there. And I had taken all the equipment with me, the dolly, the cement, the water, everything to put 4 posts up on the corners of my property so I could go up there and hunt, because there's a 1,500-acre deer club right behind my property. And so I was up there working all that day, man, and it got dark on me, and I had one more post to do, and I was walking down the road beside my property that leads to that hunting neck camp back there, and I thought to myself, man, if I just cut through these woods right here, I ought to be able to come right out of my post, and save me some time and all that. And my property is like 300 to 700 feet off the main road. You got to trek back in there.
The cabin on it?
No, it was just bare property. I'm fixing to build me something up there
Right
now, but this was in 2018. And I'm going to tell you what, when I went up and down that edge a little bit as I'm losing daylight, make a long story short, it was just so thick in there that I was having a hard time finding a place to get through, pulling that dolly with 80-pound bag of cement on it, which was just a 40-pound bag left for my last hole. But anyway, man, I came across this opening, like a little deer trail where the branch, and I backtracked and said, man, this ought to be it. And I went up in there. Dude, it was like chill bumps have just covered me. When I walked up through that deer trail and it closed behind me, it was dark in there, so I reached in my pocket and got my headlamp and put it on. Got to looking around as I'm trekking through there, about 50 feet, across there. And inside there, it was all opened up. The ground, the dirt ground had been cleaned of all the pine straw. The limbs inside there, up to 8+ feet up, were all broke off and missing. It was real open kind of in there, even though there was like 25-year pine, 25-year pine trees up in there. And up to my left, and I got to looking with the light, I could see these 2 huts, like domed huts made out of pine straw.
What?
That had like a whole opening in the front of them. And around the bottom of them was where all the limbs was, that had been probably cleared off all them trees. I don't know for sure. I mean, I'm just guessing. And I thought, the first thought was, oh, let me go check this out, and then I got to think, well, maybe homeless people probably lives in here, And so I go trucking on through there, and it was dead silent in there. Cars going up and down the road. You couldn't hear nothing in there. I mean, and before you could hear the cars, going by. But when I stepped down in there, dead silence, man. And I didn't get no wheelies or nothing until I left out of there. I trudged about 50 feet across there, and the limbs on the other side of that opened area in there was so dense, like they were on the other side, till I found that little deer trail that cut in there through a limb. Well, I just bulldozed through it, pulling that dolly with 40-pound cement and all that water and everything on it. And it made a hell of a racket. But I got through there, and I'll be damned, I come right out of my fence post, man. I called that one just right. And so I got to work on my fence post, had my level and everything, putting the water in, stir it up, get the fence post there, level it, hold it, until it can set a little bit. As I'm holding it, letting it set a little bit, I hear something come through the thicket where I came through like a bull in a china shop. But they didn't make near as much noise as I did. And when I heard that, I thought, I've done woke up the homeless people, and I hollered, hey, I'm over here working on my property, just didn't want to, disturb you. I didn't hear nothing. Nobody said nothing back. It was just silence. That unnerved me a little bit, but I'm okay. I'm sitting there holding my stuff and working. And it's dark by then, because when I come barreling through that thicket, I had my headlamp on, and it was already, the sun was gone down, and it was dark in there. And it just kept getting darker and darker and colder, because it was about 27 degrees that day. And I got on the big suit, to keep me warm, and the tool belt and the gun belt, and, I had my 1911 on me. Well, when I heard something walking towards me from where I heard it come through the thicket, and I'm standing there holding the level, waiting, I heard walking towards me. Bipedal steps. But they was trying to be quiet, you could tell. And so I'm going, okay, well, hey, I'm your neighbor. I'm over here working on my property, Nothing. That unnerved me. Okay, I got ready. Okay, I had to take my glove off, because it was so cold. And I lost that glove that day. I still got the other one, but I loaded up all my stuff and decided I had, 700 feet to trek out of there, parallel to the road. It followed me all the way to the road.
Oh, that sucks.
When I would stop, it would stop. When I would go, it would go. Dude, this was not my first rodeo, okay, in the woods with Bigfoot.
Really?
Okay? But it wasn't Bigfoot.
Huh?
Dude. As I went, without the weight on the dolly, it kept wanting to flip over, and so it was keeping me, from going the speed I wanted to go to get out of there. And whatever this was gaining on me, and that unnerved me. And I was ready, okay? When I got to the embankment where my car was parked up the little embankment there, I turned on my butt and I scuffed up the embankment, pulling that dolly on my butt, because I figured if somebody's going to jump me, this is when they're going to get me, okay? So I was ready. And I scooched my butt up the hill, pulling that dolly and everything. And when I got to the top of the hill, I could hear it, like so close to me, but I couldn't see nothing with that headlamp, because it wasn't that a good a headlamp, but it was okay. But I got up there, man, and I unlocked my car, chunked that dolly and the stuff in the back of my vehicle, went around. The driver's side was between, the car was between me and the woods. I jump in, it's cold, I start it right up, and then I get brave, okay? I'm thinking, well, if I back up and pull forward a little bit down that embankment a little ways, maybe I can see something, So I do that. And I forget it's a front-wheel drive vehicle, and I got a little bit too far down the embankment.
Oh, no.
So when my headlights peaked that embankment, dude, this humongous wolf-looking creature was sniffing the ground down at the bottom of that, where I was just at. And it had its butt to me at an angle where its head was down, and it was sniffing so fast all around the ground where I had been down there, and its mouth was closed. I could see from the angle, and I never did see no teeth or nothing, but I tell you what, it had a short tail. This thing was huge. It had fur, massive fur all over it, because it was cold weather. And when it realized it was in my headlights, because as soon as I saw it, I rammed my car in reverse and hit the gas, and the front wheel started spinning. Well, when that happened, it looks up at me at this angle, okay? And it never opened its mouth, but if I'd have blinked, I'd have missed it because it jumped up from a four-legged position, sniffing down there at the bottom of that hill to two legs and ran and hid behind a big hickory tree about 28 to 30 inches around.
No shit.
And all I could see was its hand holding itself on that embankment against that hickory tree. And it was the right hand holding itself up against that tree. And these fingers was like that long with gnarly, dark-colored nails on the end of them. Looked like dirt all under them and everything. That freaked me out. At that point in time, I mashed the gas even when I'm spinning me a hole, and I said, Lord Jesus, I need you now. Help me, and I let up the gas pedal, straightened the wheel a little bit, and my car shot backwards like a rocket.
Lucky.
I rammed it in drive, and I took off down the road, and I mean, it was just a few seconds later, my legs started shaking so bad that I could not even keep the accelerator pressed down. And don't you think I haven't thought about that almost every day of my freaking life ever since then? It took me 6 years to go back up to that property and meet a contractor to put me a road in there so I could build me something. I'm going to build me a
6
hunting
years
camp.
later, first time you went back.
Years, yeah. The first time I went up there to put my four porticos posts up there.
You tell anybody about it?
Oh, I've told a few people about it, but nothing like this. I've never really had a chance to sit down and talk to somebody about all the things that have happened to me all of my life. And this started when I was a kid, seeing Bigfoot and stuff. I mean, my dad was in the military, so I grew up a military brat, and I'm also a veteran now from the U.S. Air Force. But we camped all over this country. When I was a kid, I think, thinking back about it, I think my first Bigfoot experiences was I was about 4 years old, and we lived in Mobile in a little trailer park not far from Brooklyn Air Force Base at the time. And we lived not far, from Dog River. You could just walk down to the river where this trailer park went through. There was a boat launch down there, and there was a place where people could, tie their boats up under the awning and everything, down there, paid to do that. But I was down there one day, and the more I think back about it, it had to have been a female Sasquatch protecting me, because I was down there messing with alligators, and I had no business down there messing with alligators, and she run my ass home.
Really?
And I told my mom about it. Oh, I've got such a vivid imagination, I've been watching too much Popeye, that kind of thing. And so the next time I actually remember a Bigfoot incident happening to me, we were living in California, and Dad got stationed in Sacramento, and we would go camping at Folsom Lake all the time. And we had a boat, and Dad had some friends that he worked with and people that he knew from the base, families that had boats, and we all get together and we'd go camping on long weekends and sometimes short weekends and holiday weeks and stuff like that. And we'd just get in the boat, load all our camping gear up, and go 2 hours, 1 hour across, find us a place. We're in the wilderness now, okay? Well, we would camp, and this one time, my dad had a friend who was a single man, and he would always bring a girlfriend. Well, he, swooping down us kids, was stealing all his beers and his Cokes and meat and everything out of his cooler. We wasn't stealing nothing from him. It was Bigfoot's getting it. And, this was back when they still had some styrofoam type coolers then, cheap.
Right.
Well, he decided he wasn't going to have people stealing from him. So he went and bought him one of them metal igloo coolers that had, you had the thing in the front that you had to wiggle around.
Right.
Well, he hoisted that thing up in a tree that one night, and the next morning, and nobody ever heard anything. And we're talking 6 families sleeping in tents all around the place. Nobody ever heard anything, but yet that cooler was torn down out of the tree. The lid was ripped off the top of it. Metal lid.
Wow.
Ripped off the top, and the food gone and stuff. And he's blaming it on the kids.
Still?
So, huh?
He's still blaming the kids.
Oh, well, and that's what their excuse was and all. The parents, I mean, and we were just kids. I was 7 or 8 years old. It must have been fall. We were camping because this is something I will never forget. I go up the hill, the parents had all walked us around the area. Here's where we can go, here's where we can't go, and so we could, straight up the mountain, and there was a tree that had fell, and that's where everybody was doing their business, or sitting on that tree, and then take the shovel and you throw dirt over it, And so I go up there, and I'm sitting there, and I didn't think about having anything to wipe with until I got done. And then I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, I ain't got no paper, Well, I hear this noise, and I look to my left, and coming out of the woods is a kid about my size, but he's got fur all over him. He's covered with hair. He's walking in a four-legged position, and he's got something in his hands, green. He walks up to me, maybe 6 feet from me, leans forward, reaches out his hand, and opens his hand up. And it's full of green leaves.
No way.
Yeah, baby. And
Crazy.
I look at him, and I don't know why I say him. It just looked to me like a him. And I hesitated, and then I leaned forward with my hand, and they put those leaves in my hand. I wiped, and when I looked back, it was gone.
What do you look like?
Just like me, except I'm a kid, about my size, covered with hair. The face didn't have hair on it. It looked just like a human face. It looked like a kid. Just
What
looked
color
like
skin?
a kid. And I called him Monkey Boy. And I went flying down the hill telling everybody about the Monkey Boy up the hill. And I got my ass whipped real good because my parents told me to shut up about that. You need to be quiet. You're scaring the other kids.
No shit.
I got beat real good over that. For telling the truth, And so I learned, not, to keep stuff to myself a lot after that.
Yeah, it works when you get that done to you. What color skin did you have?
It was a darker, I can't say it was brown or gray. It was just it was darker than the hair.
What color was the
The
hair?
hair on it, it was like a light brown color. And the skin was darker than the hair. And I wrote you a story, and you read one of my stories of the Bigfoot in Shepherdsville, Kentucky that I saw. That if looks could kill, I'd be dead 10 times with that look that thing gave me.
You have to tell us that one too. We got all day. I want to hear all of it.
Oh yeah, man, and and that was in 2018. I saw the dog man in January of 2018. In May of 2018 is when I passed the Bigfoot on the side of the road in Shepherdsville, Kentucky in the semi.
Shit.
I think once they have your frequency, I think they find you, or you have experiences all over the place.
I was just going to say,
That
just
has
so
been
you know,
my
you're
experience.
you're not alone. There's a lot of people who have almost identical experiences in the same length of time as you. So you're not the only one, just so you know.
Well, I wanted to finish telling you about the green leaves. It had to have been fall because the only green leaves around was poison ivy. I wiped my ass with poison ivy.
That
I
little
got
shit.
poison ivy
No way.
so bad for after we got home from that camping trip. I had poison ivy so bad that the doctor had to give my mom sleeping pills, or else I would just claw myself constantly. 'Cause
Oh,
everywhere I
no.
touched, I had it.
That was
It
a
was-
little demon baby, demon kid.
Did it know, or was it just trying to help me?
He
But
knew.
the only green leaves anywhere around, it had to have been fall there in California. Where
knew.
green
He
leaves
knew.
only.
There's no way he didn't know. They knew everything about the natural world.
And so but and my house here, I have activity here, and
Right.
I had a really weird. For 30 years, I would take my boat and my kids and go to the river. My mom was on her deathbed, and I had been staying with her, watching her. And my sister had come in and relieved me, and I come home and took my boat, and I went to the river to try to relax. The weather was clear that day, and I had no no inkling of bad weather. And I get there, I put my lawn chair out in the water. I set up my umbrella, you know, because I'm redhead. I can't take the sun a lot. And I have my back to the woods, and I hear some racket starting to go on in the woods. I ended up, I had two dogs with me. I had a wolf shepherd and a 100% white German shepherd. And those boys were service dogs. And nothing, you know, would bother me with those dogs around me. And when I've been there about 30 minutes on the sandbar. Beautiful sunny day. It was in September 2020. My mother was on her deathbed, and I was just trying to get some things off my mind when I started hearing the racket behind me. And then my younger German shepherd, the solid white German shepherd, full-blooded one, he gets behind me between the chair in the water and the woods and puts his head down and lets out a real low growl. Well, that let me know there's somebody there. Okay. And so I stand up and I turn around and I'm looking and I don't see anybody. And then Zeus, that was the dog's name, then he tucks his tail between his legs and runs and gets in the boat. Now the boat's pulled up on the beach, and he gets into the bow of the boat and lays down, starts cowering. And the one that was laying in the water beside me, when I stood up and start looking, he gets between me and the woods. And then in just a few minutes, he does the same thing and goes and joins the other dog in the boat. Well, that's when I went around, got the boat between me and the bank and the woods. And I dig in my pickle bucket and I get out my pistol. And I say, look, you know, we don't want to hurt you and we don't want to be hurt neither, you know, that kind of thing. So y'all need to either go on or come out, you know, and associate with us. Nothing. I felt something watching us, and it felt evil. And I've never had that feeling of the 30 years going out there to that river area. And at that point in time, I'm trying to I thought we'll just leave, you know. And I went and got my stuff and put it back in the boat, and the boys are still in the boat cowering. And I got my gun at my side, and I'm getting the chair and the umbrella and everything, put it in the boat. And I'm trying to get the boys to get out of the boat so I can pull the boat off the beach, you know, one-handed. And it's not happening. And at that point, the sun goes away, the clouds came over, it started getting dark, like nighttime. And I could hear thunder rolling in, and it come a storm in just a few minutes on me before I even got the boat off the beach. And I ended up and I felt such an evilness, you know, around us. And I said, God, you know, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, protect us from evil. That's what I said. And at that point, both of my dogs jumped out of the bow of the boat. I was able to pull the boat into the water. And then when I got it into the water, I said, load up, boys. And I didn't have to tell them but one time, you know, and they were back in the bow, you know. And, of course, I hit the motor, start going downstream, and the rain came down so hard, and cold rain in a hot September day. It started filling my boat. It rained so hard that I could not see the bends in the river, you know, to go. And so we were bumping off of logs and everything, getting back to the boat dock. And I could feel whatever was there following us through the woods until we got in sight of the bridge, you know, that's just this side of the boat ramp. And it's raining and storming, thunder and lightning, just like a
horror movie.
Yeah. And I'm zooming, you know, and I'm only got a trolling motor, okay? And so but the water had increased because of the rain coming down and everything, and so we were bumping like bumper cars coming around them corners and stuff. And when I got to the straightaway where I could see that bridge, the rain started, it just stopped, the sun came back out, Talk about weird.
Yeah.
And I'm coming up under the bridge, and I'm zooming because of the water height and the just going downstream and everything. And there's this two couples in a bass boat underneath the bridge that they'd stopped there. And when I got up to them, the guy yells, "Throw me your bow line." Well, I have a bow and a stern line, and I couldn't get to the bow, and the dogs were up there. And so I undid my stern line, and I tossed it to the guy, and he grabbed my stern line. And when the line got taut, it jerked my boat around, and then water was flying up over the back of the stern.
No.
Yeah, and he's pulling, and him and the other guy start pulling. They pull me up underneath the awning, or the overpass. And then one of the girls looks at me and she goes, "Are you okay, ma'am? You're white as a ghost." And I said, "This is kind of a harrowing experience up the river there for a few minutes, And she, okay. They offered me a beer, and I said, "No, I'm good, And I'd had me a margarita in a big old cup, and I chunked it out and started dipping water out of the boat, because it's a little Starcraft 13-foot, with no. It'll sink. Oh, yeah. And, but anyway, I got the boat out and went home that day, but that was in September 2020. I started having some activity here after that. And they leave me rocks of all kinds, shells of all kinds, little colored rocks, weird shells. And I got to tell you, in the last 3 weeks, I have been left, 3 weeks ago, this little rock right here, it's heart-shaped. Now,
Weird.
Out here on the back porch where I go out when the sun comes up, sometimes when I get up early, sometimes I like to go out there and have my coffee, and I have this glass end table sitting right out there, and that's where I'll sit my coffee. They leave me stuff there all the time. I mean, it's not every day, and sometimes not every week. It's at least monthly. This is the last thing they left me about 3 weeks ago. That's a little heart-shaped rock, okay? About a month ago, no more than a month ago, it's been probably 2 months now. I don't know if you can see this. This is a little flat white rock, and this little rock right here is the shape of my motorhome.
What the hell?
And when I walked out to my place, this rock was balanced perfectly, and I can't get it to do it again. Somehow it was balanced perfectly on top of this stone sitting right there where I have my coffee. And I went to come and get my camera, and I bumped it, and it fell over, and I've not been able to get it straight up since then. Well, this is not the first time that I've gotten a motorhome-shaped rock. The very first time I got a motorhome-shaped rock was July a year ago, up at the property at Shelby County. I have deer socks I put down in the woods, and I fill them with corn and stuff. I was down in the woods, me and the dogs, filling those deer sacks and changing out and putting another mineral block down there. When we come back up to the motorhome, this is crazy. This is nuts. This rock, shaped like my motorhome, was laying on the motorhome step, where I would have to step on it to see it to go into the motorhome.
Crazy.
Up there. This one was found here, 3.5, 4 hours away.
Hey, maybe it's that young one that passed you the poison ivy when he was a kid apologizing.
You think? I
Never
don't
know.
know, man. And I get left stuff. All right. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toys. This is a school bus. Don't ask me where it came from. I have no clue. This is a race car looking car. An airplane. I can understand this one. It's a semi-truck.
You know what? The next time you get something like that, you should almost try not to touch it and see if you can get it dusted for fingerprints.
Well, here's the deal. I can do that with these because, and it's a little race car of some kind, Mattel, whatever. These toys all got left on my glass end table. And that's where I leave them. And they're usually, when I had activity one time, they were all spaced out in a row, exactly the same apart. So that's how I leave them now. And a lot of times, the airplane will disappear. The school bus will disappear. The rest of them will stay there, but I will find these. I found this one on the compost pile, I don't know how many times, the airplane. And I have to wash it, bring it back, because they'll get all dirty. And the school bus I found on the north side of the property between me and the peanut field. I found it, and it'll get moved. And there have been times where I have 8 cameras around my house where I can look on my phone no matter where I'm at in the country, and I can see my place here. I never see anything on the cameras. If my dog messes with something, I can run the camera back and I can see that the dog moved that or whatever. But if any of these stuff gets moved and that kind of thing, I can run the camera back and look, but it'll be a speed not there. All of a sudden, there it is. Now, what does that?
I don't know, but that's a common thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The trail cameras, too.
And I do have, where my cameras don't run, and up at the property, I've got all kind of trail cameras, okay? And I'm constantly watching. They left me. I've done all kind of short videos when this kind of stuff has happened. I've come in here and I've done a short video about it, and most of them are on my phone that I don't even have service on now, so I can't even move them. I can't move them to the computer. I can't unless I get service on that phone again. So, Google removed a bunch of my folders.
What?
I had folders on my phone. And I kept getting messages from Google saying, you're out of space, unless you pay us every month this kind of money or whatever. Right. Well, my folder disappeared off my phone. I was livid. When Sarah contacted me last week, she said, oh, she wanted me to do this interview with you a week ago today, last Monday. And I said, oh, I want to try to get to that, down to Walgreens and try to get some of these pictures, printed up. Because I don't know if you can see this picture. It's 3 little rocks.
Right.
On the glass end table, stacked up. Can you see it?
Yeah.
That was one of the 3 rocks that they left me. I don't know if you can see this one, but I had them come put me a new metal roof on the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see one of my post is moved. All right, well, right out here at the corner of the house near that post, if you lift up on the roof, it makes that jump off.
Right.
So something tall enough to be able to lift up on the roof keeps moving that. So I'm going to have to put something around the bottom of it because I have to get a jack and a 4x4 post and jack up in order to lift it back up so that I could put the post back on it. But all you got to do is lift up and that post will jump off of there.
So you're living rural right now where this is going on?
Yeah. Well, I live in a neighborhood, but I'm at the dead end where there used to be nothing but woods all around me. But now they've built a big ass housing area back there now.
Oh, yeah.
And a year after I moved in here, they cleared that field back here that was like probably at least 5 or 6 acres of woods. And then there's a few roads back to the east of us.
So you got deer around there?
Huh?
You got deer running around there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hogs?
What'd you ask me?
You got hogs around there too?
Oh, yeah. And the hogs I don't really have a problem with. I'm starting to have hogs up at the hunting camp property.
Yeah, there's probably a pile of them up there, isn't there?
I have seen evidence of them, but I know I have a young Bigfoot up there, and I'm thinking that's the one that left me the rock that looks like the motorhome.
Right.
Because that same trip, when I started packing up and getting ready to leave, I don't know if anybody else has had this experience. I'd like to know. He let me see him
Really?
peeking around the side of the tree.
What did he look like?
He was dark colored. He was a good ways from me, so I really couldn't see facial features or anything like that. I just saw the dark, and I could see the eyes, you know.
Were they lit up?
No, they weren't lit up, but I've always had really good vision, you know, for being a truck driver and all that. I just recently had to start wearing glasses.
Right.
But my dogs didn't want to be outside anymore. And so I let them go in the motorhome. And then it's like somebody put a pair of amber colored glasses on me. That's how the color got in the whole area where I was, because I was loading up, you know, the bike on the back of the RV on the bike rack. And it just got amber colored. Everything got amber colored, like I'd put on a pair of amber colored glasses. And I thought that was weird because it was sunny, you know, and then I got to looking around, and that's when I just got drawn to look there. And when I did, it went.
How big?
It was about 6 feet tall.
So it wasn't that great big one that was looking at you. Like, I don't want to interrupt, but that when you said you had one look at you, nasty. Describe that.
That was when I drove by on Shepherdsville. See, I'm driving down the road. It was around between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun was still up. It was sunny that day, and I was coming up on an overpass that did not have any exits or entrances. It just went over the interstate just south of Louisville and in Shepherdsville area. And I've always been I collect stuff from the sides of the road. I like unusual plants. I've dug up plants. I've got plants here growing in pots and out in the yard from all kinds of places, you know, that I've been and dug up and stuff. Well, I saw this, what I thought was an unusual tree. It was Christmas tree shaped. And I could see it for a long distance off, so I had my eyes on it. And I'm coming up on it, and I was like, as I get closer, it gets bigger, of course, you know, and I'm thinking, well, I probably can't dig that one up, you know, it's kind of big. And as I'm getting off the road now, it stands up. This thing was 8 to 9 feet tall, and it had to have folded itself in to make itself look as small as it could, and then have its head down to where the point at the top of its head made it look like Christmas tree shaped. And when I got up on it, my Jake brake, you know, and that's when it stood up. It got startled by my Jake brake or something. And when it stood up, it all happened so fast, Steve. It was like, and I'm still moving, you know, down the road, and I decide, well, I'm not going to stop, and I start to get in a car that passed me, blows his horn, you know, and changes lanes to keep from hitting me, you know, as I'm trying to get back on the road. And this thing, I see it, and then it stands up. I see it out the side view mirror, and then I'm trying to look for it in the side view mirror as I'm going past, and that's when I see it. This thing, if looks could have killed, I'd be dead 10 times. It had the angriest, maddest look on its face. And it showed its teeth. It had blocked teeth like we do, because it had its mouth open, like that. No. And its eyes were, you know, had went from big to glinting, you know, how you do when you're mad, you know, and your eyebrows will furrow and come together. And that's what it was doing. And then it turned. And this thing, it's not like, you know, we walk and we have this gait and stuff. This thing like floated, sort of. And it took 2 steps and was at the top of the hill. It was at the bottom of this hill where there's all these rocks coming down up underneath this overpass. And they were big rocks. And this thing was on the rock's edge, bent down, And then when it stood up and made it to the top of the thing, as I'm moving underneath that overpass, there was a herd of does on the
Really?
other side of that overpass, munching away on grass. And the car horn that I nearly, that had the incident there coming back onto the highway, that car that blew its head, the noise from the jake breaking it didn't bother them deers whatsoever. They were still munching away like nothing was going on. Now, I have to wonder about experiences that I've had, and that experience, I think the Bigfoot have some way of controlling the frequency around us.
Without a doubt.
So
Now-
that we hear only what either they want us to hear, or we hear the silence. You talked about a pressure. And now I've thought so heavily about that, because when I was in my early 30s, I was a truck driver for Alabama Power Company, and I had a bad accident where I got slammed in the face with an MCM cable that was a million MCM cable. It was huge, big ones,
Yeah.
and it had a metal sleeve with 4 pad holes, pressed on the end of it. That thing clunked me in the face, and it put my lights out. I actually died that day.
Shit.
And I'm telling you, they put me in the back of a pickup truck. Well, when I first went down, after that thing hit me, I was laying on my back. And I had one of the young linemen run up, and they called me Carol Merrill at the time. There's a story behind that. But he yelled, "What can I do, Carol Merrill?" And it's like, when I got hit, it's like somebody put a bag over your head and they poked a bunch of holes in the bag. You talk about seeing stars and all, and it was holding a flashlight behind it. It's like that. And when I opened my eyes, that's what I'm seeing, but I couldn't breathe because I had blood pooling up in my face. So the guy yelled, "What can I do, Carol Merrill?" And I tried to say to the fella, "I can't breathe." And when I did that, I spit blood all over him.
Oh.
He grabbed me by my shoulder and he pulled me to my side, which allowed the blood to run off. And then I could get a little air. But I remember waking up in the back of a pickup truck. They were trying to get me out of there. We were in a swamp. And they were trying to get me out of there. And a life flight helicopter ended up coming getting me. But as they were trying to get me out of there, that's when I think I died, because I remember floating upwards, and I could still see myself laying in the back of the pickup truck, and there was 2 guys in the back of the pickup truck with me, and then the driver's trying to bump, get us out of there, But I'm watching all that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, a friend of mine's had the same thing happen.
When I came to, I was in a life flight helicopter, and I went somewhere, and I saw my grandmother, and she kissed me on top of my head, told me it wasn't my time, I needed to go back, I had much to learn. And I woke up in a life flight helicopter in so much pain and anguish and trauma that all I could scream was, "Let me go back, I want to go back, just let me go back."
Wow.
I met that guy in the life flight helicopter years later.
What? No way.
I did. And we had a conversation about it, dude. That's a whole nother story. But
I got a quick question. When you're above looking down on you, was there any change in the shade of color you were seeing through?
no.
Oh, wow.
No, everything looked like I would have thought it would have looked like in real time, real life.
So I got a couple friends that I know that said it was almost like, the shooting glasses tint. Those shooting glasses people wear, the little yellowy tint to it. I had a couple people say
It
there
was
was a
cloudy
yellowy
that
tint.
day anyway,
Right.
when all this went down. But I do not recall any difference of color or anything like that when I was looking down.
Right. Everybody
my
says they want to go back. I said, "No, leave me here. This is way better."
There was no pain, no anguish, no worry, no. Everything was calm, cool, and collected.
The way life's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I'm telling you what, since I've been back here, it ain't been no calm, cool, and collected, no. But I'm constantly have stories and everything. Out here, one day, when I drove the truck, I drove at night, and so I'm kind of a night owl. You know, I don't go to bed real early, and I don't usually get up real early. But since I've been retired, you know, things are getting better in the sleep habit thing. But one morning, I'm sleeping so good, and my dogs start barking their heads off. 7:02 in the morning. First thing I do is I get up and I come to the back door and I look out, see, you know, and I have been closing the doggy door down at night because I have had things left inside the doggy door of something that maybe had a real long arm that could come through, and I think, oh, no, you're off limits. You know, I shut the doggy door down at night, unless I forget, you know, but mostly I do close it. But I have found things, you know, there. But 7:02 in the morning, the dogs are barking. I open the doggy door. They had not been outside until I opened the doggy door, and Zachary went running out on the porch. I've got 2 standard poodles now. They're 3 and 4 years old. And this was them. And Zachy runs out, and he's smelling on the porch like he smells something that's been out there, okay? I mean, they're good sniffers. And they're both service dogs. and then he comes in, and Oliver goes out, and he's doing the same thing. Well, I come in here, and I run the camera back, and I start watching the camera to see if I could see what they were smelling on the porch. They left me a turtle live, about that big around, on the tabletop. And the dogs knew they left the turtle, and I didn't know. And as I'm watching the camera, I see the turtle come to life and start walking and fall off the table.
What?
Yeah, the turtle falls off the table, but it lands right side up.
So on the camera, all of a sudden that live turtle just appeared. Bink, it's on the
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Nothing there except the toys, all lined across there, and the fly swatter. Okay, and then whoop, there's the turtle.
Holy
And it's all in
shit.
its shell, you know. And then once it sits there a little bit, it gets brave and comes out of its shell and then starts walking and falls off the table. Well, it rights itself, and it's walking around on the porch, and the dog goes out, okay, and he's smelling, you know. Well, I go out and get the turtle, and I took it to the woods and turned it loose.
Crazy. Holy shit. You've had so much shit happen.
Yeah, man.
Okay, listen, I'm going to take you back I got a few questions yet. I know you got lots to share, but before I forget. So I'm curious about the build of the one that was on the bank of the highway that looked like a tree. What was the build like on him?
It was like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
There you go.
Except bigger.
I knew
It was, except bigger. And I think, after I've just done so much years of thought about it, okay, I think I interrupted their hunt. I think that there was probably some other Bigfoots up that embankment across the road on the other side, nothing but woods, okay? I think there was Bigfoots up there coming down on the does, and I think they were going to try to catch a doe or run them out in the street to get hit by a car, and that one's job was to probably grab the food.
I don't know. You know what I'm thinking? I mean, maybe, possibly. We'll never know for certain unless they tell you. But what I'm thinking he was pissed that you got him to knee jerk and blow his cover.
Yeah,
And
because
another
I had
thing, too.
planned on, I was going to
another
get
thing.
that tree, and the closer I got to it, the bigger it got, and I'm going, I don't have nothing big enough to dig that big of a tree up. And then it stood up when the Jake brake went off.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm putting together is so far, and I mentioned this with a man I was talking to yesterday who's going to be on, it'll be on the channel in a couple days. So far, the exact same description of the angry ones, the ones that look at us with hatred and anger, it's always built like a brick shit house. It's those ones.
Well, this thing, it was massively sized. I mean, once I realized what it was, I was not stopping. I almost had a car, man.
Yeah.
It was hard, and through all of that, them does are still munching out over there like there's nothing going on.
Yeah. What color hair did he have?
Dark brown. Dark brown hair. Dark
Skin?
brown.
What was
His
skin?
gray, he had gray skin. He was all wrinkled, man. His face had so many wrinkles in it.
Been
And when
around a
he
while.
was angry, the anger just made the wrinkles just really jump out.
Human or animal?
It looked very human. It looked very human. It did not have a flat nose. Its nose came out and it was huge.
Really?
Its nose was probably that wide.
No kidding.
Yeah, man. And I mean, its head was probably that big.
Gotcha.
Did
his head come to a point?
Yeah, the top of it
All
did,
right.
but he had no neck. No neck
How-
whatsoever. Just
How wide?
head.
How wide? Gotcha. How wide was his mouth?
It like went from ear to ear, seemingly. Because when he
Yeah.
went like that, it was just and
Have you
and
found
I felt the anger
right?
more than I saw the anger. Does that make
Gotcha.
any sense?
Yeah, it does at this stage of the game. It does.
So, and I'm gonna tell you, the day that the amber colored glasses up there where the one let me see him, okay, that was all I got to see. And I said, thank you for letting me see you. I'll be back soon. And then this sadness came over me. I actually cried. A
What?
sadness came over me that made me cry. That I don't know why. Was it because I was leaving?
And that's the same property where that wolf thing was looking at.
Yes. But I'm going to tell you something. When I came back up there in July of 2024 to meet the contractor to put the road in for me, that place is totally different now, Steve.
What do you mean?
The piece of property that I walked that 50 feet across to get to my corner post, and since then I bought the 3 acres in front of me. So now I got almost 8 acres up there. I bought the 3 acres of a 300 feet to the road from there and 800 feet that way down the road. Whoever bought that pie-shaped piece of property, that piece of property is 134 feet wide at the road edge and goes all the way back to the point at the back of my original 4 acres that I bought. So it's 700 feet, 698 feet to the point, but it's 134 feet wide and then just goes pie-shaped all the way back that far. And the where my 4 acre post was 50 feet trudging across that property. But whoever bought that pie-shaped piece of property, they bought it in 2024 because I looked it up on the records of Shelby County. Somebody bought that piece of property. They burned it. They burned all that out of there.
The whole thing?
Yeah,
Timber, everything burnt.
burned it. Not they still got timber there, but they burnt the ground. They burnt the mounds that was in there. They burned all that up.
You know what? Well, a lot of my friends down in south of Tuscaloosa that hunt properties, they burn it every early spring or winter or fall, whatever. They burn it to enhance the turkeys.
Well, I need to do a controlled burn on my property because it's very wooded, and I've had quite a few. The contractor that's cleared the area for me where I go out there and camp now and have a campfire and stuff. I just had a power pole put in, so I'm about getting ready to start building up there. But he told me, he said, "Have you noticed the trees that fall here always fall north to south?" And I said, "Yeah, I have noticed that." And he said, "Well, come here and let me show you something." He took me over to the left of where my camping area is. And he said, "You see this?" And I said, "Yeah, this is a big red oak." He said, "Yeah, look at the direction it fell. It was going to fall straight on my area where I camp. But something pushed it that direction."
And the contractor noticed that.
You can tell from the root ball. He said, "Isn't that interesting?"
So what did the contractor know?
I told him when he that when I met him up there in July, I know he probably thinks I'm a crazy lunatic. Because I told him about the dog man. I said, don't you be here after dark without a big gun. I told him.
Really?
I carry my AK-47 with a whole bucket load of loaded clips. And I am never empty-handed when I am up there.
Right.
I don't care. The Bigfoot knows that I am not going to hurt them. I've got some special deer up there. I've got the doe who had twins. One of them's brown. The other one's as red as my hair. And I see him on the cameras all the time. I got a nice 6-point buck up there. I got a nice 9-point buck that shows his face. Mm-hmm.
You got turkeys?
I don't know what happened to one of his spikes, but he's got 9.
You got turkeys?
But I haven't seen any on the cams, but it's real. I need to do a controlled burn up there.
Yeah,
but
they don't like that thick brush. They need it open in the timber.
Yeah, and
but how many? You got lots of hogs there?
I have not seen any hogs on the cameras, but I have seen where they've rooted up areas on the hill behind
they're not far
my
away.
property.
Right.
I haven't actually seen them on my property, but the hill behind my property, I see where, and it looks like something got one of them up there, because it was dismantled. Pretty dismantled and eaten up.
Right. What'd that contractor say when you mentioned the dogman thing to him?
He's a Christian guy, and he's still working for me. He's a good dude. But he just said, "Man, that's crazy." And I said, "Yes, it is." But I said, "I ain't got no reason to lie to you. And if you're gonna be up here after dark or dusk or whatever, you need to be able to protect yourself." You know.
Yeah.
I wasn't telling him. He's an Alabama boy. He's been doing this in the woods all his life, and
let's go back.
But I let him know. I showed him the rock I found when I was up there the next time, because I carried it in the motorhome with me until I brought it home and set it on the bar in there. But yeah, he's I think he does believe me, but he told me William R. Ireland is the name of some kind of a wildlife management area up there, and I think that's where these things are coming out of, the dogman, because that Ireland area connects a straightaway as the crow flies down to Troy, where some other people that I know saw a big dogman.
So I'm gonna ask a couple of questions about that one night. Give us a full detailed description of that thing with his hand around that tree, what it looked like from head to toe, everything you can remember.
It moved from the 4-legged position up on 2 legs and back, and just it was almost a blur in my mind. I have to slow it down in my mind. It was brownish gray colored, and I get the feeling just in here that it was a young one. Why, I don't know. It was very curious, smelling all at the bottom of that ravine where I had just been. And I backed myself up that ravine hill, pulling that dolly and everything. And so, I had footprints and butt prints and, drag marks and all that. And it was down there smelling where I had just gotten my stuff all together, because I had sat down right there, and it's where I started inching. Where it was smelling, where I had, put most of myself on the ground and then started inching up the hill.
Right. How big do you think it was?
I'd say 7 to 8 feet tall.
How much did it weigh?
Oh, 400 to 500 pounds probably.
Shit. Any human features on it?
Its shoulders were that wide, but it had so much hair on it. The ears on top of its head were probably 7 to 8 inches long, and they were pointed. They went from like about that wide straight up to a point forward. They weren't on the sides; they were forward. Its mane, I'm going to call it, all the hair around it from its nozzle all the way back. It was puffed out, big hair.
Show you
A
his
lot
teeth?
of hair.
Show you his teeth? Did it show you
No,
his
it
teeth?
never showed me. I never saw any teeth. Its mouth was closed. Now, when I first pulled the car up in the shadow, and then I saw it, and it was sniffing. It stopped for a slight second, and I think that's when it knew it was in the spotlight, because in its mouth kind of opened a little, like that's kind of how I'm, thinking about it. And then it up on two legs and was behind that tree, and the only thing holding it was that hand. And it had hair on its fingers, but not as much as when you got down to this part of the arm. The hair got real thick right here, and then got real thicker as it went down. But the hair thinned out right here, and then thin on the fingers, and then those gnarly nails just looked like it'd been digging in the dirt.
So were they humanish looking nails, or were they claw-like?
No, they weren't human looking. No, they were claw looking nails.
Shit. What about the
But
fingers?
where it came out of the finger, it was human looking, but it was gnarly. It went out. Oh, I got a good look at the hand, dude.
You see a thumb?
It came out of the fingertip, gnarly. I mean, just like a human fingertip. But then, as it got about an inch long, it turned real gnarly, thick looking, and then went into a curved claw nail.
Oh, could you see a thumb?
Yeah, I could see the thumb, and the thumb was just like it was like a people hand, just like a people hand.
Shit.
And like a giant raccoon hand, but the nails were a lot longer.
See biceps?
I saw hair. I saw that
Okay.
it did have big arms, and you could see where the hair went over the muscles. You could actually see the muscles as it moved. The hair
Wow.
would move different way of where the muscles.
Was his eyes lit up?
Its eyes were like golden colored, and I really couldn't see its eyes because they were like eye shine, kind of.
So they were lit up.
Yeah. They weren't lit up, but they looked like eye shine. And I really didn't get a good look at its eyes because of the fast, but I did see they were when it had its head down, I could see the eye shine of its eye, that it would move, And,
So who
and then
took
we
off?
jumped
So you
up and
took off first, or he took off first?
I took off.
Right.
I was thought I was stuck,
Yeah.
and when I called out to Jesus, I let up off the gas, I guess. I don't think I did any of this on my own accord. I think the Lord moved through me somehow or another, and I straightened the steering wheel, let my foot up off the gas, and then let my foot on the gas again, and I shot backwards, and after I straightened the wheel and stopped digging a hole. But
Have
you
you
don't
walked
know
the
what's
property?
running
Have you
through
walked?
my mind, and I'm thinking, am I going to have to get out and dig it with that thing?
Yeah. Have you walked that property since that day? Like done your complete walk of the
Every
property?
single time I go up there, I walk that property. I'm looking for all kind of wildlife I got there, and I look for all kind of stuff, and I've got, I walk back here, the back section of my yard, I call it the forest. We got the yard, the woods, the woods, the forest, and the jungle. The jungle back here, I went back there behind my grapevine and started trying to cut some of that dense stuff out of there because it's trying to overtake my pomegranate tree. I got all kind of tree crap back there that's folded over and, like people see out in the woods.
Mm.
And I never really noticed that until just a few days ago because I had to take my garden fence down. The post was all rotted, and I spent the last 3 days, a little bit every day, out there cleaning that up. And that's when I walked back there and went, man, I got to get in here and clean this out. And that's when I'm seeing all these tree things that they build.
Right. So
Right here.
your Shelby County property, is that area where the ground was like scraped bare and that opening thing and all those huts, are they still out there?
They got burned out. Whoever bought that property, I don't know if it's who bought the property or if anybody else. Somebody
Oh, was it
burned
that
all
property?
somebody burned that pie-shaped piece of property.
Right.
And it
How
burned up
far
all the
south from
mounds
Tuscaloosa?
and all that in there.
How far
you know-
south is it? How far from Tuscaloosa is that?
Not even an hour as the crow flies.
No, really, straight south? Is that the road that goes to Butler and Myrtle?
Do you know where Woodstock, Alabama is?
I think
Woodstock
so.
Woodstock is just south of Bessemer, Tuscaloosa,
Okay, gotcha.
and I'm still just a little bit east of there,
Okay.
but south down. If you know where, oh God, what's the name of that little town? Jeez, Pea Ridge.
I got a good idea where you are.
But yeah, and
There's a lot that goes on. There's a bunch of stuff has happened north of Tuscaloosa and north of Birmingham.
we got it all over the state of Alabama.
Yeah, yeah.
I just,
Well, the whole all across the entire South. Well, you know what? It's across the entire continent. It's all
I
going
didn't
down.
tell you about this. This is something. This is a picture of a footprint that I took right out here behind my swing.
Really? When was that? Wait, I can see it. When was that?
There's something I want you to see about this picture that I didn't even realize until my veterinarian brought it to my attention. The veterinarian, when the dogs I have now were puppies, just before that is when I got this. So it's been about 3 years ago because Ollie's 4 now. I had a big one made of this one, okay? I want you to see something. My veterinarian brought this to my attention. He said, oh, this is a double footprint. And I've been to 3 conventions where I have never seen anybody that has a footprint like this. Can you see inside this footprint? There is a little footprint that's 7 inches.
Perfect.
This is a 14-inch footprint right here.
Yeah.
This is a 7-inch footprint.
Crazy. And was there another print ahead of that?
No, not ahead of it, not behind it. And it's right behind my swing that I have a swing about 20 feet up on a limb.
Crazy. Well, now you
And
know.
then it goes into a wooded area, which I have now cleared that wooded area out that it was headed to. And I have a big 16-foot wide lean-to I built there to put my tractor and stuff under.
You know what? That's almost as if the mom went, all right, listen, we're going to show this lady who we are. And then she went thump, and then she got her kid to go, now you do it too, right where I did it.
Or unless, I don't know how it happened, but I showed that to my veterinarian. I was at his office one day and I said, how do you feel about Bigfoot stuff? He said, give me all you got. I'm all over it.
Really?
And that's when I pulled that up on my phone and showed it to him. And he got to looking at my phone, and then he makes it bigger. How you know how you do that on your phone? And he said, oh, this is a double print. Did you? And I said, what? And he showed me what he was talking to, because I never knew.
What does he think? What does he know?
He just said, that is extremely cool.
Like, what has he seen himself? What does he know?
He never said anything to me about it. Of course, we were at the vet office, and then he had to see about my dog and give shots, and they don't really talk a whole lot, it's time to write the check, and then, but anyway.
You might be an interesting person to talk to on the side about this, maybe.
He isn't even at that veterinarian anymore. He does mobile RV.
You should send him this video once we put it on the channel.
I still have his, I think I'll do that because I do have his phone information. He works across on the Eastern Shore now from Mobile Bay. And,
it's funny. I remember years ago, I was with a buddy of mine in Greene County along the Tom Bigby River.
Yeah.
And he had a trapper he hired to go down there and clear out raccoons and beavers. And we went down there, drove down there to see how he's doing. The guy took one look at me and goes, I cannot believe I'm looking at you right here in Alabama right now. He'd been following my stuff for years, right? And my wolf trap and stuff. We started talking, and he had found 18-inch prints in Alabama in a farm field where he was doing trapping. And he also had a massive turd that he bagged as well.
I didn't bag it. I split one turd wide open.
Oh, you seen one?
Oh, gosh. That turd was that big around.
Really?
And it was like probably 24 inches. And I walked through. That's one of the reasons that I decided to cut that away and make me a lean-to right there, because they were just going all down the sides of my building. And that's where I ended up. There's 2 footprints. This is another footprint in the same area, but it's a 16-inch print.
Shit. Crazy.
And it had been raining, and I was out of town, and when I got back, I found it the next day. It had filled up with rain, and then...
Wow.
This one happened, like, within the last 2 months.
Wow. Have you talked to your neighbors about this?
I tried to talk to the lady across the street, and now she won't talk to me because she thinks I'm not so. She's got grandkids that comes over there, you know, so I just mind my P's and Q's when I'm around her. I have a neighbor on this side of me. I eat food out of my yard. I pick mushrooms, and I make mushrooms, and I pick all kind of stuff out of the yard. The lady that has the 1.5 acres over here on this side of me, they don't eat the mushrooms, so they allow me to come over there and pick the mushrooms when they're growing. Well, I was over there picking mushrooms one day, and I know you can't see anything out of this, but this is a 28-inch footprint.
28?
28 inches.
Wow.
You can't hardly see it until I circle it.
Wow.
Here.
Crazy. Yeah, I see it. Oh. So, and what about that?
And it was hiding behind an oak tree over here that's got a base that's at least 5 to 6 feet around at the bottom.
Wow.
That sucker had to be at least 12 foot tall.
Wow.
Because I was out there feeding the guy behind me that has chickens shot one of the foxes that has a hole in the back of her property, and the babies didn't have nobody to take care of them then, and I was out giving them food. I got this guy on my video camera. His eyeballs was probably 12 inches between the 2 of them.
You got it on video.
I did have. I don't have it anymore. I've stopped saving stuff, Steve.
I get it.
I'd have so much. But this guy, I had him on video because he was on the other side of the fence behind that tree. And the little fox was coming up around the fence. And he was watching.
Were his eyes lit up?
Yeah, they were. They were lit up. They were lit up green.
Oh, really?
They were lit up greenish, a greenish color.
That's not a bad sign.
And I thought it was Jenny over there, because the girl lives in, my neighbor built a cottage in the back for their daughter. And she's in her mid-40s, or no, she's probably late 40s, early 50s, at least now. And she lives in that cottage. And this big oak tree is just 20 feet off of her front door, where this thing was hiding. Look in my direction.
Does she know what's going on?
Oh, no, she don't. She'd move out of here in a jack flat second if she figured something like this was going on out here.
Crazy. Have you got anybody that you've spoken to that's on the same page or has seen or witnessed anything else?
My sister used to think I was crazy as a Bessie bug. And I got to tell you this. January the 7th, 2022, I had come in the house. I was working on the back porch, and I come in the house, and I plopped down in my chair and looked up at the cameras. My sister called me, and we started talking on the phone. And as I plopped down in my chair, I'm seeing these weird lights in my backyard. And I told my sister on the phone, I said, hey, there's something weird going on in my backyard. There's some weird lights out there. And so I got up and I walked to the back door. It's maybe 30 feet. And I look out and I see nothing with the naked eye. And I walk back in here and I'm still seeing those weird lights in my backyard.
Looking through the window?
On the video camera.
What?
And I recorded it. I still have a copy. I have tried to send that to you so many times, Steve. And I cannot figure out how to send it. It's only 1 minute and 4 seconds video.
I know how to. I can figure out a way to send. I can send you a link.
I need to send you that because that happened on January the 7th, 2022. It happened again on, I think it was January the 12th, for 3 minutes and something. But it looks like a freaking UFO hovering in my backyard.
What kind of video camera?
They're Night Owl 5.0 megapixel.
Okay, so not your. So you're going and watching a security screen and seeing it. But
Yeah,
you're
the
not seeing it.
DVR. The DVR was recording it,
Okay, I got
and
you.
I'm watching it on the infrared cameras because it's dark outside. And when I
Right.
walk to the back door and look, I see nothing with the naked eye, and I should have been able to see whatever that was.
Shit.
Okay. And I walk back
Crazy.
in here and I'm telling my sister, she goes, send that to me. Well, I sent it to her and it allowed me to send it to her, but then it's never let me send it to anybody else, ever. And it disappeared out of my phone. It was in one of those folders that Google deleted out of my phone, but I
Right.
have it on this phone that has no service.
Gotcha.
And I don't know how to get it unless I get service on this phone again. And I might have to do that in order to send it. Because I can hook it up to the computer and I can't download nothing to the computer. But this video is very interesting.
So you've gone to conventions?
I have been to 3 conventions. I went to
Did-
one in Gatlinburg, and I've been to 2 down in Ocala, Florida. And I decided last year that I was not going to go back to any more because these are just a bunch of money grubber people.
Yeah.
Now, I met Dave Politis in 2020, April of 2022, I think it was, or 2023. It was 2023 I met Dave down there at one of these conventions. And, of course, I showed him, everything I had on my phone and everything. The last one I was down there, I showed the guy that... can't think of his name. You see his face in my mind. The guy that he's kind of a rival. He works at the Idaho University. He does all the footprints. Oh, what's his
He's dead.
name? Bindernagel? No,
Oh,
it wasn't John Bindernagel.
No. It was the other one, the one that just passed away.
Oh, did he pass away?
Yeah.
The one that did all the footprints? He was on the ship with David Politis, and they had to life flight him out of there. Is he dead now?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, he didn't seem to be too interested in my pictures that I was showing him that day.
Whatever. But you know what? Did any of those researcher types, anybody take special interest in you at all when you were at those conventions?
Yes. The guy, Money Grubber,
Right. Did they?
he tried to convince me that, this is all in my mind.
Yeah. So did any of them try to find out where your properties were?
I wouldn't tell him.
Good. Good for you.
They asked me, and I said, nah, I'm not going to, no, I don't want to talk to you no more.
How'd you talk to that dirtbag?
He was in Gatlinburg that day
okay.
that I was up there.
Right.
And I was taking a picture with my friend from Nashville who I picked up, and we went over there in the motorhome and stayed a couple days. And she and I were getting a picture made with that Bigfoot guy, that they dress up and put a fan in the costume, and we were there. And when Money Grubber came up and started talking to us, and of course, my friend, that's so and so, she was on. I'm going,
Yeah.
But
And
then show him your pictures. I showed him the pictures, and he, where's all this going on? No, Alabama. That's it. That's all your information you're getting. And then I had one guy. He sent another guy from I can't remember the name of the channel, but he sent another guy over to see me. And he was looking at some of my pictures and stuff and telling me, this kind of thing, just, this is the government, something that had to do with the government, And I'm going, what?
Wouldn't that be? I wonder what it takes to actually finally get to that plateau where you can call yourself a Sasquatch expert.
Well, I know I ain't no expert, but I know that I've spent my entire life since probably 4 years old when she ran me back home.
Oh yeah, give us a description of her.
Got by a mama alligator. There was a bunch of baby alligators down there.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was down there, I was going to get me one of them. Well, that mama would have killed me.
Can you share with us what she looked like, that person you saw?
She was dark colored, had breasts, was naked, had big long arms, because she grabbed a hold of my arm and jerked me out of there, gave me a swat on my ass, and all I heard was, "Go home now."
No way.
Yeah,
How big was she?
huge. She was huge.
Pointed head?
I don't even remember, dude. I was
Okay.
4 years old.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
seeing her face. She was very stern looking, grabbed me
Wow.
by the arm, swatted me on the butt, "Go home."
Wow.
I would have been killed by a mama alligator, probably, that day. And nobody would have ever known what happened to me, probably, if she hadn't done that to me. I bet you.
Crazy.
And when I went home and told my mom all about it, "Yeah, you watching too much Popeye. You don't need to be,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know." And then when I went up the hill with the giving me the toilet paper leaves.
That little shit,
Man,
I
I was
think-
so adamant about it. I went down the hill. I was telling everybody about it. And my mom got me off to the side and said, "You're scaring the other kids. You need to stop it." Well, my mouth has been my problem all my life. Okay. And I just couldn't stop telling people, telling them and going over the details and this and that and the other. And I finally got pulled in the tent and got a good ass beating. I told you to shut up. You need to stop scaring the other kids.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever, in all these years, have you ever reported into the law?
No, never have. Oh, after we left California from that incident, we moved to Missouri and we went camping there and all, but I really don't recall anything out of the ordinary happening there. But after we left a year and a half in Missouri, we moved to Michigan. Oh, talk about activity picked back up again. We had gone out, the Ausable River runs off of Lake Huron, and it winds way back into the center of the state of Michigan. Well, we would get in our boat with neighbors and we would go up in there, and we went way the heck up into this wilderness area, man, where there was this big point that stuck out around the tip of the river. And we stopped there and everybody put their tents up and everything. And come just before dusk, we had a poodle named Rebel. He was a miniature poodle. And Rebel was the best protector we ever had. And something was at the edge of the woods watching us, and Rebel was onto it. And he went running to the edge of the woods, barking like there's no tomorrow. And whatever it was, I don't know if it made a noise, because I'm just 8 or 9 years old, maybe 10. I was probably 9 or 10 at that time. Rebel somehow or another knew that it was a threat beyond his efforts. And he turned and run back and got in the tent and wouldn't come out of there. And all our parents, one of the parents said, "I saw it, it's a bear." And then everybody's took it. We had this one tree that people could climb up right there near our tent. And they ran every one of us kids up that tree as high as we could go. It's a wonder one of us didn't fall out there and break our neck.
No way.
I don't know what the parents thought they were going to do, but they ran every one of us kids up that tree. Okay. And then I don't know how much longer, with 30, 40 minutes maybe went by. And then finally, we out to getting dark. It's time to go to bed now. Y'all come on down out of that tree and get ready for bed. Okay. Well, so we did. They put us all in the tent, and expected us to go to sleep after all that rigmarole,
Right.
All the other kids, I've always been a night owl. I'm laying there in the tent, fidgeting, and the man who saw it came over to our campfire and talked to my dad, and I heard every word they said.
Really?
Yes, and here's how it went down. That man's name was Glenn Argue. I don't know how I remember that. Mr. Argue lived 2 doors down from us in the apartment building that we lived in on the base. And so they went camping with us that weekend. They had 3 kids, and we had 3 kids. And Glenn came over to our campsite and called my dad by name and said, Jim, I want to talk to you about that, what I saw. And my dad said, well, have a seat, Glenn, you know. Glenn says, Jim, I've been hunting all of my life. He said, and I have never seen a bear get up on its hind legs like that and run off into the woods.
Mm.
Now,
No surprise.
after I heard that, when I went back to school the next week, I went to the library and I started researching. And I was only 9 or 10 years old. That's when I started learning about what Bigfoot was.
Wow.
I
You
didn't
probably
know
came
it
across
had a name. I
John
didn't know
Green's
it had
books.
a name, what it was. I just went by what Mr. Argue had explained what it looked like to my dad. And I explained it to the librarian. And she went straight to the aisle, me following her, and pulled out a book with Bigfoot looking like that right on the front of the cover and handed
Really?
it to me. I checked that book out. And that's been, my research has started then.
Wow.
And I'm 66 years old now.
Right.
And
it's
with
probably,
the experiences that I've had, and
How many times have you seen him now, do you figure? Including the Dogman thing.
dude, I was driving across the bay. I saw one in Baldwin County. It was strawberry colored. And I don't know if you know where the Buc-ee's is at Highway I-10 and the Beach Service Road.
No, but I've been to a Buc-ee's. There's something else.
They built a big Buc-ee's right there. And the Buc-ee's was brand new when I saw this thing, because just past the Buc-ee's, there's another big field, and then there's a house, and then there's another really big field as you drive down the Beach Expressway. And I passed the Buc-ee's and passed that first field. And when I come up on that second field, they have ditches around these fields, and they have big pipes run through them for watering the crops and stuff. And at the time, there was peanuts growing in these fields. They do peanuts, and then they'll do cotton because it helps the soil replenish itself. And so this was particular peanuts growing. And this irrigation ditch, they're anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5 feet deep, these irrigation ditches, and they have pipes running them. Well, this thing was standing in the irrigation ditch with its back to me, and I could see from just under its butt cheeks, its legs went down into the ditch, but just from its butt cheeks up, it was standing there, and it would lean over to the very first row of peanut crop, and it would grab a plant, pull it up out of the ground, shake it good, and then eat it like that.
No kidding. Holy
No
cow.
kidding. And then it would do it again. It would lean over, grab another peanut plant, shake the dirt out, and then eat all the peanuts. And I watched it do that 3 times before I passed it.
How far away?
200 yards.
Wow. You saw everything.
About 200 yards.
Back
Yeah.
to the road. Broad daylight.
Yeah. And there's other cars driving down the road and stuff, and I'm going, somebody else has got to be seeing this too. It was like
Shit.
6 o'clock in the morning. The sun had just come up, and there it was.
How long ago was that?
2021?
Is that
2021?
that field still there?
Yeah. Still there, and they're still growing their crops, man.
Be interesting to walk that field, wouldn't it? Walk the edge.
And yeah. And it's just crazy stuff.
I just can't believe how many are around us. Like the whole world. It's amazing.
Oh, when I sent you the email about with my information in case you wanted to contact me to talk, I sent a link in that email to Sarah. And it's from World Bigfoot Radio in Idaho. I want you to watch that. It's about something that is in the woods called a gugway.
Right?
They're like Bigfoot, except they're not near as smart, and they're far more dangerous.
Really? I've heard that name before.
I believe that's what this is.
Really? What's that?
This is a picture that came from Tennessee. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, what is that? I can't tell exactly from my view right now, but is that a face or is that a whole body?
It's a face, the
What is a
ears,
face?
and the body.
What the hell? Where'd that picture come from?
A state park in Tennessee.
Really? Who took it?
Me.
What? No way.
Yeah.
How'd you get that?
This thing is sitting down, and it's probably 5 feet tall, sitting down.
What were you doing there?
I was in the motorhome looking for the place that we were supposed to pull in and hook up.
And you looked over and this
I
thing's sitting there
stopped
looking at
because
you?
my dogs kept making a racket, and I stopped the car thinking, well, they have to go to the bathroom, and then they wouldn't come out of the motorhome. And when I got to looking around, this thing gets up and walks into the woods. It'd been sitting there watching us.
No way. How'd you get a picture of it?
I pulled my camera out and took a picture, and then when the boys wouldn't come out, I didn't want to turn my back on the thing, and so I got back in the motorhome and we drove off to our place, and we stayed the night and left the next morning.
So what kind of, is it an iPhone, like your phone camera or a camera?
Yeah,
camera?
it was a Samsung Galaxy Note 8.
Really?
Yeah.
What the hell? Holy shit. You have had so many things. So how many times do you think you've seen these beings?
Maybe 20 times.
What? No way.
Maybe 20 times, but I'm 66 years old. I mean, I never really counted them. I've never really... Maybe 20 times or so. I don't, that's just a guess off the top of my head.
Well, you're not the only one.
Let me tell you something. Here, right here. I tried to take a picture of one, and here's how the picture turned out. All right. Back before I guess it'd be between 2020 and 2021. This is part of my backyard back here, and I've got these big oak limbs. This big oak limb, I know it, you can't hardly tell it, but it's about 16, 17 inches around, and the biggest part of it. Okay, and it had all these limbs coming off of it. Well, I went out there, and I started, had a chainsaw and some limb loppers and stuff, and I started cutting it away and putting it in a pile in the yard, and then it started kind of getting dark on me, so I took the pile that I had and loaded it up and took it to the fire pile. And then after I burned that pile up, I didn't go out there for a few days, and I had built this shop out here to put the semi-truck in, and now the semi-truck's gone, so I put my RV in there, but I was working on the stairs inside there that goes up to the loft. And I needed some wood that I had in a 20 by 12 pole barn that I built, that I got my boat under back here. It's got a loft in it where I put wood to keep it out of the weather. And so I went walking back there to get some wood out of that loft. And I looked down, and where I had cut up the pile of wood and left it there to take it to the fire pile, there was a pile of wood laying there, Steve. And this was 4 to 6 inch limbs off of that branch that I had not yet got cut off of there. They were not cut up, Steve. They were all broken and busted up and laying there in a pile for me.
What the hell?
Okay?
Well, it's not a bad thing having good things done for you.
I called my sister, and she came over here and looked and said, I'll be damned. She said, you ought to leave an axe out here for him.
So she believes now? She accepts these?
Since I sent her the video of the weird lights in my backyard, because she called me back after I had sent that to her, and she said, damn, girl, you do got something weird going on in your backyard. And I have called her and told her about weird stuff. I've called her in the middle of the night. Here's the deal. I've christened my house with olive oil. I've christened my property corners with olive oil. I've prayed over my property because I am a spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I'm, religious, but I believe in Christ, and I believe in good, and I believe we're all connected somehow or another. And when bad stuff starts happening out here, when they start making a racket, being noisy, beating the side of the house, moving stuff around, damaging stuff, I will go out on the back porch and I will read the riot act. I will say, I do not allow that. If you're going to be here, you're going to be nice, you're going to be good, and you're going to love the Lord. If you're not loving the Lord, you are not allowed to be here. You have to leave now, and you can never come back here. Things will quiet down. I'll never have another bit of trouble until maybe, I think it's juveniles that are coming, raising a ruckus.
Then how long till they come start up again?
It depends. I never know. Sometimes it'll be a few days go by. Sometimes it'll be a month or a month and a half. I never know.
Right.
But I always, when I first walk out on the back porch, I'll look at my end table. If any of the toys are gone, I know I need to keep an eye out for them around the yard. And I always find them seemingly. Oh, I bought at one of those conventions a baby Bigfoot. It's about this tall. It's missing right now. It's okay. But that seems to be a favorite toy of some of their young ones, I think.
Crazy.
Because it will disappear and then it'll show back up. It'll disappear and it'll show back up. One day I went out there, that baby Bigfoot, and you have to have hands to do this, was tied around the swing about 3 to 4 feet just below the branch. And that swing's 18 to 20 feet up.
Tied to what?
Around the chain. Its arms were tied around the chain, like in a knot. And there it was with his feet dangling up there that high.
Right.
I had to get a 12-foot ladder to get up there to get it down. Now, before that happened, the baby Bigfoot would disappear because I have a toy box on the back porch that I keep dog toys in. And it would dig down into the toy box and get that baby Bigfoot out. And at first, it was sitting on the swing. The swing has like a loop, that goes like a playground has swing. The baby Bigfoot was sitting in the loop of the swing. The first time I ever noticed it. And I know my dog didn't put that there.
Yeah.
And then the next time the baby Bigfoot disappeared, it came back tied, 17 feet up.
Wow. Have you ever noticed any greasy fingerprints, greasy footprints, greasy slime anywhere?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have noticed the greasy. When I went to pick up a load in El Paso, Texas. And after I left El Paso, I drove 7 hours and I arrived at about between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning at the Kerr Safety Rest Area off of I-10, just west of San Antonio, just northwest of San Antonio. When I pulled in, I had to do my truck inspection, that every time you stop driving and start driving again, you got to do your inspection. So I let the boys out of my truck, and I had the 2 shepherds with me at that time. I let them out of the truck because we were at the south end of a loop where there was no other cars around except for one minivan parked in the curb in front of me that had curtains in the windows. And I let the boys out, and they were running around as I did my inspection. Well, when I come around the passenger side of the truck towards the front, checking my brakes and stuff, I heard this really loud burping sound. Like somebody had been drinking beer and had a real hearty, And I thought, oh, well, maybe those people in the minivan they're drinking beer or whatever. And so I called my dogs. But as I'm calling my dogs, they're coming running like it's an emergency, And they wanted to get back in the truck. Well, we've been driving in the truck for 7 hours, and usually when they get out of the truck, they don't want to get back in for a little while, Well, they come running back after the burping sound that was pretty loud, and they wanted in the truck. And so at that age, they were both getting old, and I had to put them in a ramp, to help them go up a ramp to get in the truck. So I helped them get back in the truck, and I put the ramp back away. Went around the front and opened the hood and started finishing my inspection. And I got this weird feeling, hair standing up on the back of my neck, like I'm being watched, and I'm looking around, I'm not seeing, nobody or nothing. And so we go inside and bed down, and I'm laying there to go to sleep. and I doze off. And then suddenly my truck rocks like I'd been in a terrible accident from my feet side of the passenger side. And it brought me up out of that bed, honey. I come up out of that bed, and of course everything's dead silent. But when I come up out of there, it's because something hit. And when you go to sleep in a different place every night in a semi, I mean, it takes a few seconds to get your marbles back to where you're parked. And I thought somebody had hit me on that side, you know, like a car or something, vehicle, truck or whatever. Because I've been hit in parking truck lots before. Well, I'm looking out the window. I don't see nobody. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's just nothing but grass and, you know, farm field over there. You know, nobody could have vehicle hit me from that side, you know. And I'm looking out, I don't see nothing. And on the driver's side is a big street light where you can, you know, see, but on that side of the truck it was kind of dark and everything, and at that point I'm sweating, you know. And there was something wrong with my truck. I had gotten towed when I was in the Salt Lake City area. I got 100 miles in Salt Lake City and my truck broke down. The low pressure hose on the air conditioner side of my truck had blown, so I got towed back to get that fixed, and they didn't have the low pressure hose, so they fixed it with a hose clamp on a high pressure, low pressure hose.
What?
Well, that don't work, okay? And so every so often I'd have to stop and put water in and tighten that pressure hose with a screwdriver, you know, the hose clamp, just so I could have air conditioning. And so it's the middle of the night, I'm sweating. I knew I had to get out there and put some more water in. I had just had the truck in the shop when I was in El Paso for the same thing for a 34-hour restart, and they didn't have the low pressure hose. It was going to take 2 weeks to get it, so my company just said, fix it with a hose clamp, and that's what they did. So I get out, and I'm having to pour water, you know, into it to be able to get some air conditioning after being jolted awake by something that I thought was a wreck, which wasn't a wreck. All right, well, I'm out there, and I'm feeling, yeah, something is on me. It is affecting me, you know, because it's watching me, and my nerve endings are just all flying. Okay. And so I get the water put in the truck, and I'm in my jammies, which is, you know, shorts, and I usually have a knife on me or a gun holster, and I didn't have none of that on me. And once that started me, and I go back in the truck, and I got the 1911. I brought it out. I lay it right there, you know, where I'm pouring water, where I can reach it if I need to, because that's how I was feeling, you know, not safe. So after all that, I get back in the truck, and I bed down and go back to sleep. I wake up the next day around 11 o'clock, get up and, you know, get ready to start my drive, and I got to do the inspection. So I go out and I start my inspection, and I went to get that water container that I had shoved with my foot up underneath the water that I didn't use underneath the truck. Well, it's gone. It ain't there no more. And I walk around and do my safety inspection, and when I got to the driver's side mirror, something had put its hand on the mirror. It was the right hand. And it pushed my mirror all the way forward until it wouldn't go no more. And those things are wrenched down, okay? They're hard to move. Yeah. And so it was all I could do to get that mirror, you know, back with wrenches and stuff, and then tighten it back down again. And I didn't really notice, okay, until it got dark that night. I started driving again that day, drove all 10 hours into Biloxi, Mississippi. It was 10 o'clock at night when I pulled into Biloxi, Mississippi to fuel up in the fuel island. But the lights on that fuel island allowed me to see the oil prints. Not only was there a right-hand oil print on that side view mirror that pushed it all the way forward, that sucker was 4 times bigger than my hand. I tried to take pictures of it with my camera, and the pictures just wasn't turning out. But I could see it with my naked eye, plain as day. And that got me to thinking. I walked around when I was getting the fuel tank filled on the passenger side, and I looked on the side of the underneath the window where I thought I'd been hit by a car the previous night out of my sleep. There was a handprint there. The palm print left the dent in the side of my truck surface. Shit. And you could see the dermal ridges on the palm print and where the fingers had hit. And then I followed that up to the window, and on the window, I could see dermal ridges from fingers here, like something did this and tried to look into my window.
Holy shit.
And those were the oily. It took me, I had to use, it would not come off with regular window cleaning spray. I had to buckle down with some isopropyl 91% alcohol to get that stuff off.
Alcohol did it. Did that dissolve it right
91%, it took 91% alcohol for me to get those dermal ridges off the side of my vehicle and off of my mirror.
What was the reaction to the alcohol? Was it like Dawn on Grease?
Yes.
Is
kind of like that. Yeah.
So the alcohol dissolved it rapidly.
Fair. I still had to rub it. I still had to scrape it and rub it. But the alcohol, the regular, that blue stuff, you clean your windows, I wasn't doing nothing.
Really? And
it has supposed to have vinegar or something in it. It wasn't doing nothing for my.
Was there any scent to it? Smell it?
I did not notice. I didn't even think to smell it.
That's interesting, because we've had a few people saying how they tried to wipe that stuff off their deck. We had a lady not too long ago, kind lady, came on here and shared a whole pile of stuff just like you have, and she had the greasy footprints on her deck, and she went through hell trying to wash that off the deck. It stained it.
I'm going to have to pay attention to see, because I can tell that something has been up on my porch from where my dogs go out there and smell it. Now I've got coons here and armadillos and possums and stuff like that. But is one of them going to come put a turtle on my end table?
Yeah. Now, have you ever tried to speak with them?
I do. I do speak with them. And thank you. I want to thank you because of you talking to them. When I first started when I first started noticing I was experiencing it, I would get sick to my stomach when I was out there where they were. And that's why I wanted to show you this picture. This is where, can you see the footprints?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Those are 22-inch footprints.
Wow.
And just past that, right in here, I've done tore all this out and put that 16-inch lean-to in there. Mm-hmm. But right past that bush is where I stepped in the polished shit.
No way.
And it went all over my boot.
No.
It had pine cone stuff in it. It had berries. It had twigs that looked like they'd been chewed up. It had
twigs.
It had hair. It had fur in it.
Deer? Probably everything.
I don't know. I just went through it with a stick, but
just like
the day I was telling you about, I was out there and it had left all the twigs or all the 4x6 broken up laying there in a pile for me to haul off. I turned and I saw something dark dart across, and I threw my camera up and just started taking pictures like that. That's how I think the picture that it was in turned out like this.
Weird.
Because the other pictures, are all wooded pictures like this. All the other ones. And then when I got to that one, my camera's never taken a picture that looks like that.
That's weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Odd. Blanking it out.
Oh, and here's another thing. I'm deathly allergic to yellow jackets, bees, and wasps, hornets, that kind of thing. I have to take the shot stuff with me everywhere I go, I had this tree growing out here in my yard. It was an old citrus tree that I've done torn it down now because it was a junk citrus tree.
Right.
But can you see that tree had a yellow jacket nest 2 foot by 3 foot in the ground.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I went out there one day right before I had a surgery. The morning before my surgery. And one of these cones was laying on my back porch.
Really?
Okay. And I walked around the yard, and that's when I found the rest of it. See all those cones? And this place right here is a flap of grass. And if you lift that flap up, there's a hole about 12 inches around maybe. And you can see how something ran its hand down in the ground. You can see the finger marks of a big, huge hand that ran its hand down into that nest and scooped it out of there. You can see the actual handprint. And I tried to take pictures of it, and you just can't tell. But with the naked eye right there, you could tell it's a handprint deader than hell.
Crazy. Well, it's tough to take daylight pictures of prints. I've done it. I've tried. It's almost.
But all these, every single one of these, and they had and all the little egg, whatever they larvae or whatever they have in there, the majority of them are all eaten out of there.
Really?
Yeah. I would think that'd be good protein for a Bigfoot to eat.
Yeah, bears like to do that. Have you ever gigged? There's no bears around there, is there?
Not around here. Now,
yeah.
Calvert, Alabama is about 50 miles from here. And when I worked at ThyssenKrupp up there driving a truck, we saw bears all over the place up there. And that's only 50 miles from here. So
yeah,
we could have bears here, but I've never seen any evidence of bears in my yard. If there had been a bear in my cameras have this feature on them that if something goes down on that camera, it shows this little line where I can go back and see what happened there. That's how I know, and I use that all the time. And I'll run back and look at stuff on my cameras all the time. And when I talk to my sister about stuff, she goes, "Did you see anything on the camera?" And I go, "No, I haven't seen a thing on the camera about it." Just all of a sudden there it is, and there it is.
Wow.
It's not there, then there it is.
Right. I know. It seems like they eat exactly the same as a bear, because I've seen lots of sign around here where bears dig up those yellow jacket nests out of the ground and hammer on the eggs.
And I've been told coons will eat those too. But coons don't have a handprint that big.
Holy cow.
You know?
A little excavator mitt.
I mean, coon handprints are 15 times smaller than that.
Yeah. Have you ever had the intentional terror inflicted on you?
I cannot say that I have.
Wow.
Yes, I just lied. I didn't mean it. That day at the river is the only time I felt terror on any encounter. That day at the river.
Well, sounds like overall they like you.
To give me this is the last gift that I received is a heart-shaped quartz rock.
There you go.
And I'm Cherokee. I'm part Cherokee.
Oh, okay.
And I looked up on our Cherokee, roots, and they say that white rocks being gifted to you by the Sabe, is a good thing. It means you got a good heart. You're a pure person, is what the Cherokee, stuff backs
Well,
that.
they seem to be showing you respect.
And they have showed me respect because, I said to them that day when I got sick to my stomach, because not only I threw up, me and my dog threw up at the same time.
What the hell?
In the north side of the shop one day. And that's when I turned and I remembered what you had said on a video I had watched of yours. And I turned and I said out loud, "Please don't make me feel sick and bad in my own yard." And I've talked to him like that numerous times, Please don't make me afraid in my own yard. And then the feeling of apprehension or uneasiness always leaves me.
Wow. Interesting.
It works. It absolutely works.
It
and
works.
any time that I get the feeling like that, I'll and I've tried doing it in my mind, and I guess maybe I don't have the gift of mind speak or whatever, but when I say it out loud, I get results. Now, years ago, we used to go to this church, and I said to the minister one day, I said, "I'm afraid that when I talk to the Lord, that the devil hears what I say." He said, "Well, if you don't want the devil to know where you tied your goat, don't tell him." That's what he said to me. And so I just got to thinking, well, maybe that's because it means you're not supposed to pray out loud. because then the devil can hear you. If it's in your own mind, maybe the devil can't hear you. I don't know. But that's just neither here nor there, but stuff that's going through my mind, in deep thought about a whole lot of different stuff, with what I've experienced.
Well, one thing for sure is words have power. Words have big power.
Yeah.
And so does intent in your mind. Your intent in your mind has massive power.
And I think that's why they know that I don't mean any harm to them.
Right.
Even when I have a gun in my hand. Because I have enough gun experience where I'm not just going to be shoot happy. If I ever have to pull a gun out on somebody, that son of a bitch is going to be dead before he knows I even have a fucking gun.
I believe you.
All right? That's what they teach you in the military.
Yeah.
So...
Well, we're going to have to wrap this up pretty quick. I could talk to you all day, but we've been pushed on a couple hours here. And I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions at the end. What do you think these people, these beings are? Do you have any idea yet?
I do. I'm so glad you asked me that.
All right.
I have been doing so much research, and I've come across another guy named Tim Coonbo Baker. He lives in the Huntsville area. He used to work at the Huntsville government complex. And he ran some things by me in a video I watched on A Flash of Beauty. He has been doing some research, and he found a kudu horn, which is one of those horns that they blow in Israel and all the Middle East. Kudu is the name of the animal that God has made it appropriate to be able to make these horns out of. He got one of these horns at a thrift store one time, and he started learning to blow it. And when he learned how to blow that thing, it summons the Bigfoot.
Really?
Yes. And he went out and did experiments with his friends on it and summoned several different tribes of Bigfoots out of the woods. You need to watch that. Also watch the one I sent Sarah about the Gugway, because that really concerns me. These things are probably in Canada more than they are in the United States. And if there's something in the woods that's going to get us, I think it's going to be the Gugway. I think the Bigfoot would protect Sarah and anything against anything bad. But these Gugways are bad news, man. And I'm learning more and more about them.
All right. So you think the Sasquatch people are good overall?
I do. I think they're the watchers. I think they're God's watchers. That's what I believe.
All right.
With everything that have learned up to this point, I think they're the watchers. And I do believe that when they're summoned, a lot of bad people are gonna perish.
Seems to be a common belief.
Have you heard that from other people?
Oh, hundreds and hundreds of times.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. But I believe they're the watchers, and I'm still deep into. I mean, I'm talking. The Bible only tells you so much. All these apocryphal books, Jubilees, and all these others, Enoch and the Book of Noah and everything. Man, all these books they tell all between the lines where the Bible stops. And if you read all these, apocryphal books and then right alongside the Bible, you see that the story puzzle pieces just start coming together.
Right.
And there's more than what we're being told. Way more.
You believe in the devil?
Oh, hell yeah.
You think he's here?
Oh, yes. And I do believe that all the Anunnaki, the Anunnaki that died in the flood, I believe are disembodied evil spirits that take over all these people in Washington, all these politicians that don't have a good heart. They're so susceptible to be overtaken by these disembodied evil spirits of these Anunnaki. And I believe that's what is happening in this country right now, and Canada too.
You think the devil's here, or is the devil overseas?
The devil is everywhere.
Right.
And the devil is the one who leads all these disembodied evil spirits.
He's definitely got his tentacles reaching far and wide.
Yeah. And as long as we keep our hearts open and pure and open to what the good things God offers us in this world, I think, you know, I've kicked myself for making such bad decisions throughout my life, but I'm going to tell you something right now. I believe I am where I am right now because this is exactly where God needed me to be. He's going to use me. And I just keep praying every day, Lord, please help me listen for when you call on me.
Well, he's using you right now to share that on
I
his
might
calls
have
with the
potty
people.
mouth, because I'm a veteran from way back. But I'll tell you what, I'm a spiritual person from the get-go. And even though I have potty mouth, I had another Christian guy tell me one day he was working on my motorcycle, and I went to come out with something, and it was going to be a bad word. I knew that guy was a Jesus lover, and I kind of bit my tongue, and he said, the Lord already knows what you were going to say. You might as well spit it out. And I said, you're absolutely right about that. And he said, and don't feel bad about what comes out of your mouth because you're a good person. I know you're a good person, he said.
There you
So
go.
don't let that affect you in a bad way.
I believe you're a good person too.
So,
All right. Well, I got to get going. But
thanks so much, man. I like I said, just the first chance I've had to actually really sit down in depth and talk to somebody at length about stuff that's I know about.
Well, I'm glad you could get it all out. I'm sure we can talk again.
Oh God, there's so
another
much
time as
more.
well.
I'm sure.
Make sure
I
you
have a
keep in
notebook
touch.
that I haven't even opened that has had stuff in it that I wanted to talk to you about that I hadn't even covered. I'm sure.
We'll have you on again for sure. I mean, obviously, you've got a whole pile of stuff, and I want to hear all of it, and so does everyone else.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sure.
I'd love to come up there and do some fishing with y'all. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe I'll be down there, guaranteed. I just figured out why I didn't get to go to the south this spring is because my friend who I was going to see had been making this big surprise plans with Sarah for 2 months, keeping it secret. They're coming up here.
I did hear about that. Yeah, and happy late birthday, man.
Thanks. So I'll be going down there for sure in the spring, and who knows? Maybe go walk when I leave Tuscaloosa. We'll stop by and go walk that property for shits and giggles or something.
Yeah, man, I'd love that.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
All right. Appreciate you. Be safe.
They're
all right.
They're going to start building me a basement pretty soon. It's kind of tornado alley through there, and I'm going to build a basement before I start building all the stuff on top of it. So yeah, we're fixing to get ready building me a basement up there.
All right. Hold on a second.